Welcome to the Serpentine Creative Channel. I'm your host, Stella Williams, and today on Serpentine Reviews, I'll be reviewing Hood Witches by Nikki Brown. If you've watched my March Madness to be read video, then you already know that I am not that big of a fan of urban fiction, but I haven't given up on it yet. And one of the comments on that video was for me to review Hood Witches, so I chose that to be my first review for this month. And I will say that if my entire decision on whether or not I would just give up on urban fiction completely or keep trying to find something that I like in it, just based off of this one book, Hood Witches by Nikki Brown, I would for sure keep going. Nikki Brown completely delivered on her tagline of crazy ratchet magic. And although I had some minor issues with her point of view hopping and also with balancing my own feminist ideals with the way her secondary female characters were treated in the story. I know that it's common in urban fiction, and one of the reasons why I don't read a lot of urban fiction. That being said, I'm not going to really take that into account for my review because I'm already biased on that point, and I want to be as objective and fair as possible. The plot was good. I related to the main characters enough to be able to finish the book, and she did a good job of making the villainous characters unlikable, so I wasn't too sad about what happened with them in the end. And like I said, I'm going to try not to give spoilers, so that's why I'm being purposely very vague about this. But the two main characters are Shyla and Jalen, and they're sisters in Nikki Brown's world, which is in order to come into their full power, they have to sacrifice someone who is in love with them on their 21st birthday. So that's kind of a crappy thing, right? So that's the conflict, is the sisters, at least for Shyla, she's approaching her 21st. And so she's done a really good job of avoiding having people, having a relationship with anyone so that she doesn't have to kill them. And the older sister, Jalen, has already gone through this ritual. And so she's, doing that sisterly tough love thing, trying to help her out. Like, if you really want to come into your full power, then you need to figure it out, basically. That brings me to my first objective rating, which is the heat level. And this book is really hard for me to really define with my scale, because while the scenes were relatively graphic, they were short and they didn't really intrigue me. There was like a lot of repetitive language within the sex scenes, a lot of things that are typical of urban fiction that I know I don't necessarily connect with or like. If you are a fan of urban fiction and that style of writing sex scenes, then for you, this book would be like a little bit above slow burn. But for me, I would say it would be a little bit under slow burn, because while it was graphic, it just really didn't do that much for me. Like, I kind of enjoyed the buildup that the author gave to it, but like I said, when it came down to it, it was short and there was some repetitive language that took me out of like the steam factor in this book. And as far as readability, this book is firmly on patient, like dead middle patient. because even though the plot was good, the characters were relatable, the drama of the story kept me reading. I did not enjoy the head hopping that happened within the story. Sometimes it was confusing because there would be scenes with like 4 to 5 characters, and there wasn't anything delineating what character's point of view was really being represented. So it would just kind of go like from one to the other and one back and forth, and it was a little hard to read at times. So that's why I said if you're one of those people who can be forgiving about the whole head hopping thing, that was really the only major technical issue that I found with this book. I did finish the book and it debated me enough that I plan to continue reading the continued story. Overall, I would have to say that this book is somewhere between worth reading and loved it. Like just slightly above worth reading because, well, I enjoyed, like I said, I enjoyed the story. I do plan on continuing this story, but because of the head hopping of the characters and the sex scenes not necessarily being to my liking, I would say that while it's worth the read, it's worth checking out if you are into urban fiction. If you're not into urban fiction, if you're not into hood ratchet stories, then I honestly can't recommend this book for you. Um, but I did enjoy reading it to a certain extent. So if you're interested in checking it out for yourself, if you want to indulge in some crazy ratchet hood magic, then Hood Witches by Nikki Brown is the book for you. I'll have the link to Hood Witches in the comments, as well as a link to Nikki Brown's Amazon author page so you can check out her other work. I'm not sure if she has written any other urban paranormals other than the Hood Witches and Hood Witches. You'd love to, but if you're just into urban fiction, maybe she'd probably be a good author to check out. And that's all I have for this installment of Serpentine Reads. Thanks for watching.